Whoa, look, it's time to go viral. I'm homicidal, I'm killing all my rivals. I'm the man, shit, I put that on the Bible. I Spotify my target, cause you know I got the title. Hey, I'm a Mac 2. I told baby shake that ass like she Apple. She said it's real, so she got my name tattooed. House full, so I hit it in the back room. Whoa, baby said she needed now, peep the urgency. I want a little Kim before she had the surgery. Leg spread on that hardcore poster. She love twerking, she just do it for the coach. Big dog, bull massive. 6 tray Chevrolet, I'm classic. All these niggas mad at me, that's tragic. The main bitch in the bed, that's graphic. Yeah, we about to go viral. Hey, we about to go viral.
What's the deal, people? It's your boy, the one and only, your host that do the most, Mr. Viral himself. Coming at y'all with a very special episode. Got a special guest in the house. Hey, Mr. Harvey Green, my father. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, man.
Yes, I'm Harvey Green, father of the main man here.
We live and direct. Came out to North Carolina to pay him a surprise visit. He didn't even know I was coming. How you felt when you see me at the door?
Yeah, so you at work or at home?
In traffic right now.
Oh, you off?
Yeah, I'm off. Matter of fact, let me call you right back.
Okay.
All right.
At work.
Hi, Liberty. They're looking at you like, who is it? Hi.
Hi.
Is Harvey here?
Who?
Harvey?
Yes.
This is his son, Chris.
Come here. Come to the door.
She's so excited.
Come back, Libby. So a big surprise. Big surprise. Look who at your door. Your son. Your son, Chris.
What?
Come on in.
Dude, they just talking the phone. You found me. Hey.
What's going on, man?
Man, I was feeling rotten, but getting there.
No,
Yeah,
listen,
we heard about it. Said, man, we'll do a pop-up.
You ain't kidding. Come on in.
Yeah.
There's no liberty there.
Yeah, I see. She excited.
Come on.
Man, I was shocked, I tell you. I got up, I wasn't feeling that great. Oh, no, they say, your son was here. What? I just talked to him on the phone. But when I saw you, she said my face lit up. I tell you what, it was bothering me left. Just that fast.
Yeah, when was the last time I seen you? About a decade ago?
Well, pretty soon it would be. It'll be 9 years this coming August.
Damn near 10 years. So this episode, I want to dedicate this to the vets because the stories. So I wanted to catch a lot of your stories on camera, not only for me, but for your grandkids, for my kids. A lot of these stories they never heard. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about your upbringing first?
Well, I grew up, it was hard times back then. I never known my father. You know, the mother grew up, I was going around, passing around from home to home, uncles and aunts. And I got tired of that. I was a homeless person for a long time. Be out on the streets, clothes was raggedy, had no money. And even got into sports, but because I was so poor, I couldn't do too much of that. But I walk around, and one day it had rained, and I was sitting out on this road. And I saw this old black Packard coming up a driveway, coming down the road. The road similar to this out here. The guy stopped and said, boy, what you doing out here? I said, I'm sitting nowhere to go. He said, where you live? I said, nowhere. He said, come on, get in. That was a cool day. I got in that car, it was so nice and warm. He took me home with him, entered into his family. I started growing up with them. And one time they wanted to adopt me for good, and I said, no, I'm keeping my name Green. But he was a good guy and everything. You know, everybody had problems. Put me through school. Then I got out of school, running around and got involved with a lot of things. being like a hitman and everything. Learn those ways. But then one day I was downtown Houston walking around. And the sign said, Uncle Sam wants you. I said, I tried everything, I'm gonna try this. So I go in, talk to the recruiter. Sitting there, we talk, and he says, can I help you? I said, yeah, man, I want to join up. So we sit down and talk. He told me about this doing the Vietnam War era then. So we was talking, he said, you take the test. So I took the test. At that time, all you need to score was 16 on called an amplitude battery test. You had a lot of other tests to take, but then I scored like 80 something on the test. He said, man, you can go to officer training school. I said, no, I don't do that. I want to be like you. I want to be a sergeant like you. So we kept talking and talking. And he said, when you want to go? So I'm ready to go now. I said, go tell your parents. I said, I have no parents this week. So we talked. Then he said, you think you tough? I said, I'm tough enough to take you out. He says, I have a place for you. I said, where? He said, a Green Beret Special Force. I said, where do I sign? Sure enough, signed up. Stayed in a motel that night. I think about 4 o'clock that morning, they got us out. Took us to the airport, flew me out to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It was cold there, it was snowing. And I mean, these drill sergeants came out with everything in these bags. We walked up, they dump out your bags. Everything we picked up, put it back in. So it was crazy. But then I got to liking it, because I was already athletic. So after a while, you have 6 weeks of training. Jump school, we did like 15 jumps a month. They do nowhere near that. And the chutes we had then were not the same type of chutes they have now. Chutes back then, you jump out, you land, you roll, and you fully shoots up. So after 6 weeks of training, and there was no AIT at that time. You go from there, you go straight to Vietnam. So we ended up on a plane, and up in New York, from New York, flying on to Germany, from Germany to Vietnam. You get there at the station, and they put you out on duty, say Saigon was the starting point. That was the capital then. We go there, and the next thing, my job was in the jungles. I was combat infantry all the way. First year went through the man, you're talking about scared. I was scared because the enemy fired, you don't know where they're coming from. Trees were so thick you couldn't see. And the jungles during the day, you get bitten by mosquitoes, you got ants to deal with, you got snakes to deal with.
How old was you at the time?
That time I was in Vietnam, I was 21.
How old was you? So you enlisted at 21?
No, I enlisted, I was 20 when I enlisted.
You was 20?
21, I went on in. Because I told them right then and there, wait, they didn't have what you call, they have now delayed entrance program. And during the war, of course, they was like, because the draft was going on. I know like 2 or 3 of my cousins got drafted, and I volunteered. A couple of them didn't go to Vietnam, but 2 of them did go to Vietnam. One was in the Marine Corps, another was in the Navy, another in the Air Force. But I tell you, getting there, you meet people, man, you just met folks, and next thing you know, people dropping like flies around.
Yeah, that's deep. So just to backtrack, from a kid, you was homeless, somebody damn near adopted you, and from there, you enlisted due to no other option, or you just looked like the best option?
Oh, the best option, because at that time, see, I needed square meals, they needed a roof over my head, and the military provided that. Like I said, I was wandering around in the streets back in them days. It was cold out there, and you go to your relatives' home, they had big families, they didn't have no room for you. I had a favorite uncle I stayed with for a while, and then he ended up dying. He had gone to Korea, he had a bullet enlarged in his heart. Well, close to his heart, he couldn't move. It was an accident, and that bullet moved and killed him. So then, that would left me without anything. So I'll go around everybody's house, and they give you a meal. But for living and staying like that, no.
How was you able to fend for yourself before you joined the military? Like, because I know the streets is different now, it's different ways.
Oh yeah, I was out there. You learn the ways of the street, become mean. You see, back then, the only thing that was going on in those days, people were selling drugs, and you go to clubs, they didn't call them clubs, they didn't call them like juke joints, stuff like that. You get into fights. But you also meet people you hang out with, some folks like you, some don't. But you didn't back down from nobody. And back then, you fought fair. If a guy whooped me, fine. But if he didn't, you go bragging about it, I'm gonna get you then. That's just the way it was, you know, and we would drink, and have a good time. I've seen guys drinking, like I was telling Dorothy, I think, about last week about these two old winos. You saw them all day, they've been drinking together. And over a little bottle, one of them shot and killed the other one. And he was laying out there, you see people dying right and left, but then when I'm in Vietnam, you see bodies, people just talking to. Just lying there, guys are dead. You know, you look, you say, well, when am I next? So then you put in your mind, hey, if I'm gonna go, I got a 50-50 chance of dying or surviving. So if I'm gonna go, I'm taking a lot of these clowns with me. But the thing about it, you didn't know who you was fighting. Because communism was coming through. And the bottom line is, you didn't know the North from the South. So when we captured Vietnamese, after being there for a while, because they had like, out of the ground, and shots coming from it, you don't know where they're coming from. Trees were thick, they had snipers. They had young girl snipers. They had young babies, I would call them, coming up, running to the camp, just pull a grenade and kill any GI they can get. One time we were celebrating Christmas, and it was only 5 minutes and I'll hit the deck. So this young Vietnamese kid running through there and pulled his belt and exploded.
So they had y'all fighting kids and y'all didn't even know.
Well, we knew afterwards. But see, they were called, at that time, they used them for suicide. They were suicide missions, like kamikazes, pilots and everything.
Damn, they using kids as suiciders? Suicide bombers? That's crazy.
And young girls in the trees, they were good too. They were picking us off. And the guys like smoking marijuana and stuff, well, t-shirts was white. So you fire up a match when they pick you off.
Yeah, because I know nowadays, the Vietnam vets, they got a lot of bad press. Like, they're baby killers, they're kid killers. But they don't know these kids are trying to kill you.
When I came back first time in California, right in San Francisco, they calling us baby killers, murderers. With all these clowns back here protesting. We fighting the war for these clowns are protesting. They don't know what was going on. They blaming us. They see the news. Yeah, the babies getting killed. But how many GIs are getting killed? There were body bags coming back all over the place. You can see back then the train stations were different. You see a lot of these things out there with the wheel with caskets on them. So I got so mad up there before Fort Ord, they were throwing eggs. And when they hit me, I said, man, if I had them, I'd blow these clowns away. Then you start drinking and we didn't appreciate it. The war wasn't appreciated. Even though John F. Kennedy was gonna end the war. He wasn't gonna say, look, he had just completed the Cuban Missile Crisis with Fidel Castro. But the Republicans want a war. When a war comes, they make money. They make money, who you think going? We're the ones going the front line. They're not going out there. You have a lot of them clowns that are in politics now. People like Donald Trump, when they come up, burn their draft card. He didn't ever serve in a war. And yet he called people talking about they were losers and everything because they died.
That's deep.
But he don't understand people dying right. The equipment we had then is nothing compared to what they have now. Everything was solid. I remember when President Carter was president, when he came out to visit us at Fort Hood and we showed him, at that time we had metal-seeking shells can go through metal. We took an old tank and fired it, and that's when he first saw that. But Carter was a good president, though. But Nixon was a rotten president.
So just to backtrack a little for the people that might be lost, you was actually in Vietnam. You actually fought in the Vietnam War.
Oh, yeah.
What was the exact infantry that you was, or branch of military you was in?
Army. Yes, Army. And that was the first time I was attached to the 1st Cavalry Division. Attached means we support them. And then we moving up, because I started in the jungles, moving up north, the Mekong Delta and everything. But then you're fighting through the jungles, and you ask for air support. Sometimes you couldn't get it because of the clouds so bad from the bombardments, the overcast smoke and everything. So you had to fight more than just the enemy. You had to fight the elements as well. Like I said, they have snakes, man. First time I seen a snake that huge. I've never seen a snake that big before.
Like anacondas?
Anaconda snakes, python snakes, hanging out the tree. Like I said, once we would come to this village, And one had killed this little Vietnamese woman. She must have come out to get wood or whatever. But when we got there, half her body was already in him. So all we did was set him on fire and burn him up right there and kept going.
What you set him on fire with?
At that time, we were shooting flamethrowers. That's all we had. It's a white chemical comes out. Once it hits, it ignites. And that's what we would use when we shoot into the underground tunnels that the Viet Congs had. So when you shoot somebody, you don't know where they're coming from, and you look at the ground, you don't know. So that's why a lot of us dying fast. We didn't understand that first.
Guerrilla warfare, what they call it.
That's what it was. That was the real war. This stuff nowadays is not.
How was the training back then compared to today? Like
Training was better.
today is like no hazing.
Training better was great back then because you fought in because you hand-to-hand combat if necessary. And you fought because you threw grenades back then. You didn't have a grenade launcher. We had a bazooka. It's a mounted on your shoulder that fires out both ends. But the training was 100% better then because you made real soldiers back then. Like I said, the military policed itself back then. There were no civilians. Everything in the military happened, stayed in the military. And we ran everything. Nowadays, you train these guys coming in now, it's like a Boy Scout thing. A lot of them go just to get money to go to school. Some of them come out, oh, my back hurts, man. They get benefits for it. The Vietnamese, the veteran, Vietnamese veteran, the old Army veterans, we the hardest one to get everything. For years, guys going through, even when Reagan was president, Reagan denied a lot of veterans their benefits because they were like, wasn't 100%.
Yes, a lot of vets, actually Vietnam vets that's down on Skid Row.
Exactly.
You wouldn't know they vets. You just looking at them like they bums and thinking they drug addicts.
Yeah.
You don't know they done fought in the war and got denied benefits and now they're in the street.
Exactly. And now you look at people, they take care of everybody nowadays. Like I said, you had rations, you get wounded, or if a soldier died, then you take his Red Cross kit because he can't use it anymore. There are times we'd be behind bodies, dodging bullets and everything. You get caught in the clearings, they cut you down. We had the Huey choppers bring in. I had one buddy, he used to be on the chopper. He'd be so high, he shot up the floor of the chopper.
Oh,
He shot up the floor of the chopper, he'd be so high.
what was he high on?
Oh, all this stuff with it, most marijuana and methadone, anything they got. Because like I say, marijuana grew up there. It grew up just like in the grass. You're like, I didn't know lighting marijuana. They tell you, they pick it up and guys rolling it up and smoking it. That strong odor, you knew what it was. And I've gotten contacts from him. I didn't realize until he told me that's what it was. Got lightheaded, laughing, acting crazy, shooting. One time I was shooting, I shot from the bottom of the tree all the way up. Then I heard something hollering at the ground. I knew I hit it there. But then there's a lot of time we were pinned down. We was calling for air support and couldn't get it. And we had to fight. But the worst thing was night fire. You couldn't see at night. I mean, people walking on landmines, exploding, you bombardment everywhere. So maybe my own artillery shells comes in and hit us. We don't know.
So you done been walking and a guy next to you just blow up.
Yeah, he blows up. If you take the point, he steps on the land, didn't take much. You step on it, when you pick your foot up, you trigger it, that's it. And people behind you will get hit too from the fragments. That's how I got this scar up here. From the hot metal, they hit me there. But then you hit the deck, it's still coming around, no explosions coming in. It's not the blast kills, it's the fragments from it. And then sometimes you make booby traps made out of nails, fertilizer, and all kind of stuff with all this gunpowder in it. Then they also made pits, like I was saying, pits sticking up. And a lot of Charlie forgot they were there because a lot of them died and they fell in.
Yeah, I seen some of the booby traps. It's like a pit they dug out and your foot go in, but when you try to pull it out, a bunch of nails and razors and just tear your whole fucking leg apart.
It blow you out. You see boots flying in the air, legs over here, half a body's over there. So it is bad, especially when you get pinned down and artillery coming in and you can't move. like a lot of Marines on Hill 881, we'd go rescue those Marines up there with 2 big 50 caliber machine guns. We come from the other end, ease up on you, throw a grenade in and get down, blows up. And that saves them. They made a lot of movies that they called Pork Chop Hill. I think Clint Eastwood made one. But a lot of stuff, those things weren't as realistic as Platoon was. Platoon showed everything. So when I watched that movie, I knew exactly where it was. And I had those flashbacks that night. I couldn't see it anymore. I couldn't watch that movie the day it was on.
So out of all the historic Army movies, Platoon is the most realistic.
Platoon is the most realistic. And there was a movie made by the Marines a year back in the, I don't know what, the 60s or early 70s, called Beach Red. That was a movie that's really stupid. Most of them was Marines. And how the enemy was wearing out uniforms and fooling people. And these 2 guys that played, they were dropped the line, they reported back and told them about where it was on the beach, but they was holding our uniforms and we sent fighters in. But see, everything, it's bad. I mean, war is a different story. You're talking about hell.
So how was it back then dealing with the racism in the Army, you being black?
Oh, it was, yeah. We were separated. There was parts of the military base where blacks would be on and the whites on the other side. But I tell you what, though, you can ask any soldier back in that day was a pilot or something like that, or a grunt, which we call ourselves grunts, or ground troop, they would tell you they'd rather be with black soldiers right than there, because we know how to fight. We know how to fight, but there was some, like I said, prejudice officers. You know, it's prejudice, everybody above you. And it was hard for a black man to rank. Because I know when I was up for a promotion, I knew I was better than the other guy, but they gave it to him. So when people said there'd never been racism, because that is a lie, racism has always been, and still goes on. And some of the northern states have it in housing, cars, and jobs, and salaries. So my rank took me a long time to rank where other people rank fast, just like that. Nowadays, this military, you can rank, you go to college, you come out, and eat 3. You know, let's go to college. You come in, you eat 3 right there on top. And your pay will be more than mine.
That's crazy.
But they didn't know, I always had a bunch of pencils. I call an officer, you know what they're doing, they pencil it. They sit behind a desk. They sit there. Now, I don't know if you ever watched Combat. Combat was World War II, was fighting against Germany and everything. That's a lot of realistic too, but it's Hollywood. But the bottom line is, war, anybody that been in war, there's a lot of guys came back totally messed up. As a matter of fact, Dorothy had a co-worker that her brother just died back here, what was it, a week or 2 ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and he was messed up from combat.
Yeah, a lot of the vets that I've seen who've been in Vietnam, they're not in their right minds. How was you able to keep your sanity?
Because I drink gin.
Gin kept you sane?
Gin kept me, I drank gin. But see, I was crazy. They called me, look, we called the Big Red One.
They called you what?
Big Red One.
So they gave you a nickname?
Yeah, they gave out but my nickname was local. but the unit we call it Big Red One, because we took all the daredevil job. Wherever it was, we was on the point, we moved in, we found the landmines, everything. Anything was up front, we was out there, because in the wartime, to be honest about it, the ones to go on the front line, blacks, Hispanics. They're the first ones on the front line.
So they send y'all first?
Exactly. We're gonna stop a bullet. You were nothing but a hired assassin in the military. That's all you was during wartime. And all these politicians, they want to keep a war going, but I guarantee they don't send any of their family members over.
None of their kids, none of their grandkids.
All the people that's out there, they draft. The draft was wrong. A lot of guys went to Canada, burned the draft cards, and stayed away.
So all the toughest jobs, the most dangerous jobs, they send y'all to.
We out there to get it. That's right.
So in a war like Vietnam, how do you get a nickname like Loco? Because I know the people's like, hold on, how the hell you get a name like that?
Because they gave me that because I was crazy. Anything come up, I didn't care. I'm gonna take it. Like, if for instance, like we know the terrain is rough over here, it's jungle. Like, who's gonna go first? If they tell me to get around, let's go. We go in. Well, if I get it, you know what happened. But the bottom line is, though, The life expectancy in a wartime of an infantry soldier is less than 18 hours. 18 hours, you're gonna be replaced. So guys, a lot of guys were shooting themselves to get out of the war. They'd never been away from home. They'd be crying and going on, but see, I wasn't taking the cowardly way out. Because all my life, I'd never been a coward, been a fighter. If I started something, I'm gonna finish it. One way or the other, I'm gonna finish it. And a lot of guys, there were guys, I didn't know anything about religion back then or nothing. All I knew there was a God. And if he take me, then I'm gone. But I'm taking a lot with me. I didn't know anything about Cal. You see a guy used to be crossing his heart. I said, man, what the hell? What are you doing? And he was talking about rosaries and all that. I know nothing about that.
So the first day you left training and they sent you out on that battlefield, what was your thoughts the first day you...
Oh, scared, I couldn't see. Because I'm used to fighting what I could see. You see guys falling around you, dying. Or they tell you, the officer tell you, some of them be gonna make a career of this, some of be not gonna come back, some of gonna come back mean, some of you gonna get out. So at that time, I didn't pay no attention to us look, but when you heard you getting close to the zone, man, where combat is, you hear the explosions and everything, the rat-tat-tat, the machine guns, and you started thinking in. But then when you're out there, you really in it. When that Huey chopper lands and you get off of it, you running, bullets flying all around you. Because you have a space they land the chopper in and you heading for the woods. Some guys didn't make it. And then you set fires and everything because you smell the dead body. Look at them all mutilated out there from the sun. You have like 130-degree days, and at nighttime it's raining and it's cold and monsoon rain comes in and that's mosquitoes having a blast with all other kind of insects. I had never seen an ant that huge before. Like a red looking ant. And he gets you in bad shape. Then they had huge spiders and everything. You had, like I say, snakes crawling. Other wild animals going through. So a lot of times, because of the bombardment, the animals are scattering, but not the snakes.
Was there any moment you thought, like, this is it? Like, I'm about to die right now?
Oh, yeah. Many times we were pinned down and people dying. So you keep yourself, well, when is your time? When are you going to go? You want about that, but you got to keep on. You give up, that's when you get it. Because like I say, at nighttime is the worst time. We didn't have all this night gear they had. We had what you call tracers. So when we fire, you look for the rat-tat and where your tracer's going. You know where they're shooting from. So you just fire it out wild, anywhere. Some guys put the weapon on automatic. I kept mine on single. Because you can fire out your rounds. We had them rounds, Cliff magazine we had then would only carry like 15 rounds.
Dang, 15 rounds,
15 rounds, you change it. And then you gotta look for gas. Sometimes you gotta be ready for gas. So you have a gas mask. The only equipment you have on you, you have your M16, you have a gas mask, your C ration, a first aid kit, which was nothing but a little Band-Aid or something. You get a hit, that's it. But if a person dies, you take his. You pull this, get up, and your armor belt around. But you move it on because they have field details come up later on for the GI body, war dog tags. So if you die, your dog tag it, they put it in your mouth so they know what it is.
Damn. Yeah, I remember one story you was telling me you thought y'all was cooked, it was over with. You said God sent the wild hog to save y'all.
Well, we was on this patrol. It was like 5 of us. So we were coming through, there's rice paddies on both sides. You don't go in a rice paddy because there's no more water. You know how deep the water is, or is it quicksand or what, or animals in it. So it's a little road. So we coming through, it's 5 of us. We're just making our way back to our zone. But then you hear this big Russian heavy tank coming behind you. It makes a lot of noise, you can hear it. There's a tree there, and you can see the huge snake, the tree bending over, he's up there, he spotted us. And that mouth opened up like that big hiss, like a head like that. And we stopped and looked at the thing looking at us. Now, if we shoot him, we give our location up. But because the tank was getting closer, and somehow, I'm telling you, like I said, that I wasn't a religious person, but God sent a wild hog. That bull hog came out, that snake dropped on him, wrapped around. There's a tug of war going in front of the hog and that snake. Somebody said, let's go. I walked through, I'm curious, I put my hand on that snake, the muscle was so tight. Next thing you know, when we got through, they spotted us. They fired around. Boom. And then the bottom line, it hit right where we was. And we looked back. The tree was gone. The hog and the snake wasn't nothing left there. So then he would have gotten us too. But he knew we was there because they was coming. These winds was rolling. So we cut off to the right.
So what was going through your head? You see a giant damn anaconda with a head about as big as your body, and behind you was a tank.
First I thought about maybe I thought about taking a grenade, pull the pin, and tossing it so you get it. But then so the tank hadn't seen us yet. But while I was standing talking about what's going on, then the bottom line is, I say, we gotta do something. Somebody, let's go. But out of there came a wild hog, had them big tusks and everything. He was a big hog too. And then the snake dropped on him, wrapped around him, and he pulling the snake tightening up and the hog pulling. Somebody said, let's go. We went. And I just had to touch that snake like that with this hand, never forget. And the muscles so tight, and the hog grunting and pulling. And so we got away, they fired around and landed right there on that hog. Snake wiped everything out. But they knew we were there, but where we went, the tank couldn't go because it was off the tracks. So we got up into the jungles. As we're going through the jungles, and you see more snakes. So, man, what are we gonna do now? I said, well, only thing we can do is shoot him because either this is where we're gonna lay down here or we're gonna fight till the end. Because then, Charlie was coming the way meeting us too. They started firing on us. We hit the deck. We called for support, air support. Couldn't get the air support. So you had to do the best you can, shoot. And we were trained, we maneuvered around. So we put we would call it crossfire. So some staying there and fighting while we maneuver around behind them. We got behind them, we threw grenades. All about the same time, all of them exploded. You hear them all, nothing. Then we started shooting, and the guys in front came on in, and we just wiped them out.
That's only something out of a damn movie.
That's the way it is with the jungle. See, a lot of people didn't fight in the jungle. Some fought on the beach, like around there, you had to become delta of the water. Like we're moving up to Cambodia. Cambodia, where all the fighting was really going on. But all the branch of service had a difference. The Marines were mostly near the Mekong Delta side. The Navy was out there, Southeast Asia, in the ocean. So they were firing in rockets back then. Those rockets back then, we called them what's the name of it? Because that was my secondary MOS, Hercules missiles. They were firing Hercules missiles in. I never used my secondary MOS, always the first one, which was combat. And I was in Bravo unit. So you got Alpha, Bravo, Delta, Charlie, and that was it. And then sometimes you get them F-15 fighters coming along, fighting and everything. They would drop the B-52s, be dropping bombs, you get the location. So, but it was, I tell you, though, many times you think about, man, especially at night, you guys walking away to go use the restroom, step on a landmine, blown away. And you tell them that because there's a squad leader tell them, like some guys just come in, replace others, you tell them, don't get away from it. We'll get you out here and stay close. They wouldn't listen, see. A lot of times, a white soldier wouldn't want to take a black soldier's word, so he wasn't off. They get shot or blown up.
So you tell a white soldier, hey man, you stay close, you say, hey, fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about.
You know what and then he goes out, get blown away. But see, squad leaders we were, which means I have my section of men and somebody else have their section. So we know, we done been there, so we tell you what's going on. But here tonight, firing the bombs and everything. And you know what, next time they hit, they're gonna hit hard. Because they know they got you pinned down, so they're gonna hit hard. They stay low, don't get up. Some clowns hold their head up and they get taken off. Because sometimes you gotta crawl prone down on your belly and just crawling, keeping your head down. You got a hard helmet on and your helmet liner. Now, the only way you can clean up, you use that hard helmet on the top. That's what you wash up in when you get a chance. A lot of times we didn't get a chance to wash up. Sometimes in the river, I wore uniform for years, sweaty, you stinking, man, you smell like a rat.
Damn, so what was the feeling? You get off, fresh 21, you just enter battle, and you get your first kill.
Oh, the first kill didn't bother me.
No?
No, it didn't bother me because, like I said, I grew up on the streets. I've seen people die. But like combat's on a different situation. But the first kill, I said, oh, I got that, such and such. So then you start shooting. It becomes natural to you then because you know either he's going to get you or you're going to get him. Somebody's going to get hit. And that's why I didn't agree with them when they talking about when Pat Tillman died, they said friendly fire. If friendly fire, somebody shot him because, number one, you're in a combat zone, you always stay each other. You got my back, I got your back. We know each other's up. If you're moving forward, everybody stays in shot of one another. Nobody's behind. Because your job is just as most important as my job. Because one person blows it, all of us can die. So you got to watch out. The point man has to watch out. And we moving in. Whatever, you're looking for everything. Sometimes you miss up in the tree. You'll know it when they fire on it.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of guys say, they first kill, they throwing up, they having nightmares. You say it was nothing. It was
No, but you see, everybody, some of the guys never had, they never been around like I was. I grew up, I've seen people die. I fought people that, seen people cut up and bleed. Some folks couldn't stand the sight of blood.
So before you got to the Army, you was already been in combat.
I'm already tough, yeah. That's why they made me a squad leader. Because when I got in boot camp, my drill sergeant's name was Papsky, Woodley, and Grant. And doing base strength, they named, because I was athletic too. And they named me a squad leader. And they say, you're going to make it, you're going to be good if you stay in. I swear maybe, I didn't think about that then, but in Vietnam, all that comes. All your training comes, including when you from the streets. It's similar to street fighting, but on this way you don't see what you're fighting, unless you're being on the ring. And that's when the hand-to-hand combat comes in there. So you got your bayonets, you fight with that. When you're charging each other, man, people die right then and there. I remember when I hit Charlie with my bayonet, just came up and ripped him. One of my buddies cut the guy's heart out. Held it up on his bayonet like that with his heart.
You had his heart on your knife?
Not me, another buddy of mine.
Yeah.
I just took my whole weapon up and whipped in and whooped up on him. I just split him up. My other buddy cut his heart.
I'm doing my
Damn.
back poetry.
He mutilated him. But then see, there's a lot of war crimes going on there. We did a lot of war crimes, I'll be honest about it. But you don't think about that. They were doing war crimes against us. Now we overkill, it's true. And they were talking about bring them back. And I said, man, these clowns kill each other, bring them. None of these sons are gonna work. So we captured some of them, they killed them, because they were torturing our people.
Yeah.
Especially the ones in them POW camps. They were being tortured every day. And they take away, we called it where McCain was, we called that Hanoi Hilton.
John McCain.
Yeah, where John McCain was. But he got shot down. And then I think he hurt that leg or something like that, but he was in there. And then when we kept moving around, but mind you, when he was released, I think the war was ending there. But during the heavy times of the war, though, it was something that people dying, so that's why they were drafted.
Damn, so, because I know now, like, they like to, like, a lot of the vets who do interviews, they talk about they kill counts, like 33 confirmed. Are you guys keeping kill counts, or you just catching so many bodies that you lost count?
No, we didn't count. Other people come back and count, but we knew. Because when they come up, you see dead Americans out there, and then you see all the Vietnamese, that's how they get the kill count. Because they like we hit a squad of 50, and we kill them all. So that's in Section 8, we done killed 50. But they were moving on up and going on up northward. You might run into 550. So then you outnumbered. So you calling for backup, your radio for backup at the radio, and I call for backup. Your backup is not there right away. You gotta fight. I remember one time, man, I was down to my last roll of shells. I said, now this is it. You know then you're gonna die, so, but you keep fighting. But right then and there, always they came through for us. Usually the Air Force come in, them fighter jets, and they cut loose. Well, then they drop us supplies in like once a month. And I used to tell them, everybody else they know to smoke marijuana. I told them, drop me some gin. That's right.
Just give me some gins.
I had gin. That's what keeps your sanity.
Yeah.
See, a lot of guys, I was probably going crazy when I didn't have that. I didn't smoke, but them guys were smoking. But you had to do something because all the time you turn around, yeah, we used to take up bodies and set them up and set them on fire and stack them up.
Damn, so do you remember your kill count or you just lost count?
No, I lost count. I didn't keep count. I just know I was firing to save my life and some of my comrades' life. So when you're in heavy fighting, you're not counting. Because a lot of times you don't know if you hit somebody or not. Especially when you are flat down, you're firing from the prone position. Sometimes just grass there, you hide behind the grass. So you don't get seen like on the road. If we take a break, you always watch the road. You face out toward the road. But like I said, you gotta worry about the elements too. Sometimes you get in a doggone ant pile or them huge spiders, man, they were different colors. Spider, they bite you. But when you combat, a lot of times they forget about you in combat.
Yeah.
They forget. You need supplies that take days for you to get.
So they send you out there and forgot they sent you out there.
They don't care. As long as you stop a bullet, that's all they care about. They don't care about you once you get in. They'll tell you that you're on your own. Your other comrade, you make friends though. You get friends. Sometimes you get guys, like a lot of guys from the States, whether they from your home or not. That's where the word blood comes from. We start calling it blood. You're American. We're blood. We watch out for one another. You can be from Arkansas, Mississippi, even them racist states. And then the brothers, the black guys, you're blood in America, because a lot of the Hispanic guys, they were blood too, but they're in the same uniform. So when you fight the war, anybody, they forget about that prejudice stuff you grew up with. Your life depends on each other then.
So they come in racist
and leave out.
Bodies start dropping, and now y'all brothers now.
We brothers.
That's deep.
So we started calling each other blood. That's where the phrase blood comes from.
Yeah, that's crazy, because that's a gang terminology now.
Right. Because blood now, they make blood.
Yeah, blood gang, yeah.
But to us back then, blood was, yeah, we from the same hometown or this state, or we all from the United States. Because then we had we had allies too. You had British fighting. You had Australians fighting. And then we didn't have no Germans though, but we had a lot of the other allies there too.
How did they view y'all, the Vietnamese?
The black soldier, the Vietnamese, didn't want to kill us, but we caught some. And he looked and said, "We don't fight you. Your skin not white. Why you fight? We don't." I said, "Yeah, but we're the same uniform."
So they didn't even look at y'all like enemies.
No. It was the white man was the enemy. Now that we were in the uniform, so a lot of us died. A lot of us died, a lot of us didn't die. But they didn't care. See, in communism, it's just like they know white men lie. They know it. But the bottom line is, though, when you're fighting, you took an oath to the Constitution. You swore to uphold the Constitution and the flag. And you will give your life as have to. That's what an infantry soldier is. He's just another number out there. If you come back, it's great. You die, they can bring you back one way or the other, body back. A lot of guys was in the burn. I mean, some of them were so burned so bad, their wives were sending their wedding rings back. In the burn ward, a lot of guys, and the nurses was good. Because a lot of nurses was crying, a lot of young men dying like that. A lot of them in tanks. Some of them when the planes go down, they get burned so bad. Well, I remember the nurses, they were good too. Because we carried guys in there in those mass units. And they had things, man, I mean, it was bad. Guys burned so badly, you can hardly recognize it. And a lot of people were married, that's why I said I wouldn't get married. Bottom line is, a lot of guys' wives sent their rings back to them. They couldn't handle it.
Did you get shot out there, or was you able to?
No, I got wounded. I didn't get shot. I got, like I said, a lot of shrapnel. Like my side all around here with shrapnel here. It was so hot. That's why I was in the MAX unit for a while. They had to give me some stitches. But when they said, you go right back into combat. So you might be out of combat for a day or two, then they take you going right back to your unit.
Stitch you up, give you some gins, back out there.
They gave me that morphine. That's why I can't stand morphine today. They fix you up, you good. Hey, you can still block a bullet. So you good enough. But guys were shooting themselves so bad. They were the ones saying they couldn't handle it. They were crying, never went away from home from the mothers.
So
Me, I didn't have that
shooting themselves
Shooting
to get
themselves
out,
just to get out.
to not fight no more.
Right.
That's deep. I see. I never heard that. That's crazy.
And a lot of them was the white soldiers doing it. Shoot themselves and get out. The war's over for them. Now, if you get wounded, like guys got legs blown off, arms taken off. Yeah, like we see him talking now, like I tell you, I know, like that day when these cops, all of them out here, when they look for those things, I saw these different agencies. Man, look, I'm back in Vietnam. Weapons all over the place. I look out there, one knock on the door, and Libby ran out, this nice dog. He told about these two, something looking for him. I said, okay, fine. But I heard one of the cops say, I don't think he worried about it. He said, I have a veteran here. I said, well, no, I'm not worried about it. Come up here, you can come back and drag him out. But it's just, oh man, I was scared a lot of times. I ain't gonna tell them a lie, but I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
Especially at night, because you can't see where you're going. And then you're walking like a leaf hits you. A lot of times, we were dropping this chemical down that kills the foliage. And you think that's rain, and that's what happened to my eyes a lot too, because they were dropping Agent Orange. Our people was doing that. And that's to kill the leaves and everything. And when you leaf hits you, wiping your face like that. A lot of guys got shingles, hives, cancer, all kind of stuff.
So our government, we dropping Agent Orange on our own.
And they denied it all the time. They denied it. For a long time, they denied it. That's why it took so long for Vietnam veteran to get anything. And Ronald Reagan knew this. And a lot of these guys that you see on Skid Row, they were 80% disabled. And he cut everybody off. Just chop it off. And that's why that clown no good either. Him and Nixon, they were no good.
Yeah, because you guys were villainized, but the Afghanistan vets, they were like the heroes in the media. So how did y'all feel about the media? How they painted y'all like villains?
Oh, we knew they were lying because they weren't there. I don't think the only one was telling the truth was Walter Cronkite. He was telling the truth about how many casualties, how many people killed. They showed people on the news like somebody, a lot of people were glued to the set every day to find out what's going on. They weren't getting the truth. And they lied. The military lies, the news was lying. And I can remember many times, man, we was up there because when the news people, they had news people following us around too. And a lot of them was killed. They were right in the heart of it. We tried to tell them you stay down. They wasn't doing the news. These guys get blown away too. But being in the jungles all the time, it's like your home now. You know the soil. You say, well, I may not never see American soil again. You get used to that.
Damn.
You're dirty. Man, you're dirty. You're tired. You're wet. You're hot. You're so sweaty. The mosquitoes love to sweat.
How many years total did you serve?
I served exactly 26 years, 2 months, 6 days, 13 hours, and 21 seconds.
And how much of that was in live combat?
Oh, twice. That would be 24 months. I went back. I volunteered to go back. Not after I came home, I went back about a year or two later.
So you went one term, 12
One term
months.
I was sent over there for 12 months. Actually 13 months.
You made it out alive.
Made it out alive.
Come back. You volunteered to go back.
I volunteered to go back.
What made you want to go back?
Because, you think, man, a lot of comrades I left over there, they're still fighting. But see, the first time, I made it back without a scratch. But they called me local. I was crazy. I made it back without a scratch. I didn't do state. So I signed no, I'm going to go back to Vietnam. So I went back. And that's when, in combat, again, a lot of the shrapnel started hitting me there from exploding. And a lot of it from our artillery. But that time I thought, no, that's it. I'm not going back anymore. I think I'm pushing the button too much now.
So when you came back, was it hard to adjust to regular life?
Yes.
It was like, nah, I got to go back.
It was hard because you want to kill people. People calling you murderers and everything. I mean, you come in uniform, people calling you a murder baby killer. I want to grab them by the neck and just wring their necks. Because like I told them, dude, look, you going what the news media tell you, you're not fair. Why don't you go over there and see how it is? See, all these people doing that talk and protest, and daddy going, they wouldn't have made it. They don't know what war is a different world. They see stuff on television. That's not the real deal. You see somewhere guys having a good time, and that's not true. When they took me out of combat, Saigon was the capital. And that's where the black market was. Then you get out, you stay there till your orders come in. And it's like, you going around the city and they had the prostitutes and all this stuff. But you get a little bit, I had a jacket I brought back, and I don't know what happened to the thing. I brought it home. Everybody started wearing it, and that was it. I hadn't seen it again. It was a jacket with all the areas on in Southeast Asia. But you come back, people calling all these names, man, you fighting for these clowns. I said, man, I'm not sticking my life up to somebody like this.
Yeah, so how did it feel to go fight for the country, risk your life, almost die?
I wanted to go.
No, but you come back and then...
That's what I'm saying. We weren't treated with no respect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The racism is still going on after you fought for the country.
Well, we at Fort Ord, Jane Fonda was on protest. People throwing rotten eggs at us. One hit me right on the uniform. Now look, man, I'll blow these clowns away. They talking about baby killers, murders, this. I said, wait a minute. We go over there and fight for this. People dying for this. And in Vietnam, oh man, that was, your Vietnam veteran, you see a Vietnam veteran, that was like poison there. But you fighting all these people to protest back here and call you all these names. And we were not respected. Look at these guys when they went over to Afghanistan, they come back, they're heroes. They don't do nothing. That's not your conventional war, what they're doing. You got machine that pinpoints where everything is. The non-conventional warfare, we were the ones pinpointing. But the only thing I hate about this, where they do all this automatic stuff now, because all you gotta do is get the code, cut them off. You have nothing. Your non-conventional warfare becomes nothing. Guerrilla warfare was our thing. We had to find it. We had to go out there and search and find it.
So it was no drones, it was no night vision goggles, y'all were the night vision goggles, basically.
That's it. We didn't have that. We didn't have, our rations were like them old peanut butter and jelly and little crackers in little green cans. You didn't get no hot meal. Like people getting hot meals nowadays, shoot, man, you get none of that stuff. And when your ration goes, sorry, you gotta wait. Then you learn to eat off the land and everything too.
Eat off the land?
Berries, you got the berries or whatever else, something you can eat. A lot of times you boil some type of weed together to eat.
Damn.
But, yeah, there were times, man, that you so far up in the jungles, you couldn't get any reinforcement, thing like that. So you live there, you live in that area. Then, like I said, nighttime, combat is bombardment everywhere. You can hear Charlie, man, all over the place. You can't see him, but you can hear him. Somebody might walk up on one of them. But then night fire, and I hated that because you didn't know what's what then. Anybody can die then because you shoot it where you think the sound is coming from. And we had tracers, so the tracers, you hit somebody, you got him. All that trace was a bullet that has a little light. When the light hits, it explodes. But they were firing out a tree, and the tree was so thick you couldn't see.
So you just firing, just hoping you hit something.
Hoping it hit something. Where the sound is coming from. If it's coming from the tree, you fire up there, you just spray it, fire up until you get something. Sometimes the ground, like we didn't know it was under the ground, they hold up, fire at you, go back down. But they had little openings where the grass and everything's on top. You walking over them. So finally, I guess how we discovered that somebody stumbled one time. And we saw the thing move, and that's how we found out they were underground. So we started shooting flamethrowers in, setting them up. But they had like an ant farm. You shoot in there, they're somewhere over there somewhere.
So, I seen that in the movie Platoon, that they'll pop up. You think they hear it, and they back over there?
Back over there somewhere.
So that was real.
Oh, that's real. And that's how we found out about it. Then we started, every hole we started getting to, we started shooting flamethrowers in. So we spray everybody out, you get to one, we search the ground. Sometimes they have trees covered over. But your life is in your hand. Like I said, the life expectancy of infantry soldier less than 18 hours back then.
That's
somebody's gonna die before the day's over, the night's out. Somebody's gonna die.
So you making friends, and then end of the day, he's gone.
Yeah, you don't want, that's why sometimes it's hard to make friends, man, because some guy you just met, man, you get in a conversation, boom, he's blown away. Or you blown away. But then, you know, a lot of these guys say, a lot of guys that was afraid because they never been away from home. One guy, black guy, man, he came, I think he was from Oregon someplace, had both his legs blown off. He said how he used to run up and down the stairs from what apartment they live in. Now you can't do that. I mean, it's both legs, but we just grabbed them and pulled it back, both legs were gone.
Damn, so what's the highest rank you made?
E8, Master Sergeant.
Oh, so you made it to the top.
Oh yeah. I made sergeant in Vietnam. I went over there, E nothing. Came back, I was E5. So that time a sergeant. And like they brought the Vietnam Wall around LA, California back in the late 80s. Right there off the Marine, that park there by the Lawndale School. And we look at the wall, saw a lot of names I knew there. A lot of names. I said, man, I could have been on this wall. That's the small. They got the big one. I don't know if you guys saw me. You was in Washington, the Vietnamese wall up there. That was the main wall. Then they started making portable ones and carrying it around. A lot of guys on there were sergeants, PFCs, privates, mostly sergeants, and we were the ones. The combat officers weren't too many.
So is that because you said before you went in, you wasn't religious. After you got out, that's when you became religious?
After I got out of the Army, because...
how was that transition back into society?
Well, the thing about it, I was fine. But see, and then, I mean, you remember George, all my buddies from the church. We went to see Platoon. Platoon came out. So we sitting there, I'm fine watching the movie. I said, man, this is Saigon, man. This is chaos. This is lesbian right here. I'm showing them all. That night, I'm trying to sleep. All it all came back. I couldn't do anything. Man, that's why I was seeing everything. Bombs, everything was coming back. So I called Breck, and Jake prayed over me. That's the only way I got over that. But I couldn't see that movie anymore. Georgia said it was on back here a few months ago. I said, I can't watch it.
Damn.
I can't watch. That's the only one I cannot watch. Because Oliver Stone, who made that movie, was there. Oliver Stone was there. He was a combat fighter too.
So that's how he was able to make it so realistic.
So realistic, because he was there too. And Raw Reese right now, that he's the pastor, I think in California. He was in the Marines. He was crazy. He started off like the streets like I did. He was a fighter. He got into martial arts. He got into trouble. The judge told him he'd go to prison or go in service. He went to the Marine. They sent him to Vietnam, but Ron Reese was so bad, he disobeyed orders. Yeah, they kick him out. Ron Reese until he killed the captain too, right there. Of course, Ron Reese was on all in the drugs and all that stuff. And now the guy, his testimony is good too, though, because I had him on the radio back here last year. But he wanted to kill his family. He was sitting in the house because his wife, the same wife he had now was his high school sweetheart, named Sharon. So he was gonna kill him. He had his weapon loaded, waiting for him to come back. And then he said, on that Chuck Smith came on. And that got him. God used Chuck Smith to save him. He went to Chuck Smith Church like Greg Loriano did. It was Calvary Chapel minister. He was gonna blow his wife and sons away.
Yeah, see, because when I was a kid, I didn't know any of this stuff. I heard stories here and there that you used to tell me, but in my mind, I didn't know the devastation of war. As a kid, I'm just thinking damn, I knew your eyes was messed up, but not as severe as it was. So in my brain, I'm like, damn, my dad's not doing this, and this with me. But I didn't understand.
Yeah, I was trying to.
This was the reason why.
Yeah, because it took years later, I started going bad. Because we used to go a lot of places, and I couldn't go anymore. Especially when you would start doing a lot of that basketball, I couldn't keep up. I couldn't see it when you made a shot, something like that. But then I knew my eyes going like I was coming off of 605, and I couldn't read that sign. I shook my head, it got clear again. Further, I got it saying that blur again. I said, wait a minute, I got to go. I'm going to the VA. I went to the VA. One doctor looked, he said, man, if I can go to the doctor, I said, no. 3 doctors looked into my eyes, wouldn't tell me nothing further. What's going on? Well, you're going to be totally blind within 30 days. What are you talking about? You got pseudoretinitis, pigmentosa. You was in combat. I said, yeah. From the outdoors, everybody else been outdoors like that. So what are you talking about? So then I went, Rick and Jay prayed for me again. I went back and said, I said, I know it. God healed me. But then I kept going to the eye doctors and everything, and the rods and the cones in the eyes left. They told me, said, well, there's nothing to be done. I said, well, no problem. I'll deal with it. Then I went back in, then the cataracts, they took that out. And when the cataracts, man, I couldn't believe, I'm walking, I couldn't see the television. I said, whoa, I knew I was in bad shape then. So the television screen was all white. But I noticed I got close to the television, I could see it. And I got close and I had to sit up close to the TV. Then everything else went, and then the only thing was left now in my eyes is the retina and pressure.
So are they paying you for this?
Yeah, they paid for it. It took a long time. And the thing about it is they always say, well, no, the Vietnam veteran don't get this, don't get. They lied to us so long. Lie. That's why a lot of guys on Skid Row. They're still lying to them. I didn't trust the VA anymore. Then they stopped having real doctors there. Having these people tell you, oh, this and that, no. So then I started going to the real doctors. And they were doing that's how the reports they sent and they helped me get stuff because they weren't giving me really nothing. And say, well, no, it didn't happen. You crazy.
That's crazy. So how did you deal with parenting after spending that many years in the military and war and this all you know your whole life and now
because I don't know if you remember, I used to be catering until March, dinner, step and everything a lot of time. I was still doing military jump. And then one time God told me, wait a minute, these are not soldiers, and not these are the army, you know. I used to go to church calling people, don't fall in or fall out, column left, to the right, rear face, double time march. I was doing all that stuff. People say, you scared people up. Well, Freedom told me that before he died. That's all. I didn't realize it. Even John told me, I need you putting people in line and everything. I said, well, hey, man, that's the way he deal with people. I had a hard stone the first, but I gotta say, I still had a lot of ways Lord had to take away from me. I was still mean. And I was to the point. Because if I figure you can do something, you don't do it, I'm gonna let you know about it.
Yeah.
You know good lady sucker, man, get out of here with that. You can do it.
Yeah, no excuses.
Like Tom Loren, I deal with not a day with Tom Loren.
Oh,
He ain't too smart in here, but I didn't realize. One time Dorothy was telling me, I was sitting there, Dorothy said, you said I work at Nutsville, but some of them people you deal with, they just crazy. I said, you know what? She's right, I never thought about it that way. A lot of people I was dealing with in church were nutty as a fruitcake. And some still are. But the only way I knew when I got back like in civilian life, I still had military ways. That's all you ever know. I ate, slept, and dreamed the military.
Yeah, because I'm trying to see when you transitioned into, okay, I'm a dad now.
Oh, that was years late after.
Because I'm still thinking, you still thinking the military. Now you got this kid and you like, this is different.
That's when Lord started dealing with me. Wait a minute, it's not just me anymore. I got a son I got to take care of and treat right. That's when the changes started. Because everybody else, I used to put him in line. But see, you were special to me. I remember when you were born, I had you like this, one hand. The nurse said, hold one hand, your hands are huge. And Chris looking at me, blinking in my eyes, head full of air, blinking in my eyes. That was my man then. He was everything to me. I changed a lot of ways then. So before, I was crazy and rough.
praise God.
Yes, I had to settle down then. I can't let him see. Because I was drinking. I had to stop that. I was drinking. And then we went to Jack in the Box and John. John was loaded. John kept falling on the cars and trying to carry John. Then a deputy sheriff turned the corner. Chris started crying. Okay, crack guys, come on. But then I said, nope, I got to stop this drinking too. Ain't had a drinks, and Lord took the taste of alcohol away from me. I was mostly drinking beer and wine. But I tell you what, the craziest I used to drink back in the early 70s was that doggone wild turkey. Man, that stuff was strong.
101 proof.
Yeah, but then I didn't drink the 101.50. I didn't drink the 151. I drank the 101.
101 proof was
Yeah.
it?
And that stuff was done. I would drink big time. I'd put it in a glass, man, and drink that down. Yeah, I had to feel it. But I tell you what, I was cool. I used to go to the VFW. And that club was on with veterans of foreign wars. You can't join unless you've been in a war zone. So I was go to the VFW, sitting around having a good time. I would Sergeant Green. Yeah, what? Nah, I don't care about you. But that, like I said, I was crazy. I was Taurus the bull then. I was bullheaded. You couldn't tell me nothing. One time, I put a captain in his place. I said, sir, I respect your rank, but I don't give a stern hoot about you. Nothing. But that one we shot up in Nam, no, he was a racist to the core. That guy said, how do you get it out of unit? I didn't think of that idea. A couple of my buddies did. Let's take him out. What are you talking about? He already got killed, fired, he's a captain. It's okay, yeah, let's do it. We all lit him up. He went down. We had like nothing happened. Then when they had the count come back, oh, Captain so-and-so was killed. Oh, he was? That's good for him. Should be so racist. That's why he's not here.
That's crazy.
But yeah, we killed some our own people. And we committed so many, what Dr. King was right. We committed so many war crimes that it was pathetical. It was. Because they were doing it to us.
Yeah, you're in survival mode, so you're not thinking rationally. You think I'm trying to survive.
I knew I had to be here for 13 months, and I knew these guys were trying to take me out. So I'm gonna get you too. You're trying to get me, and I couldn't. At first, we were losing that war because we didn't know where they were. They were hiding all over the place. And then in the daytime, you walking around the peasants, they smiling in your face. At night, they want to cut your throat. So it's war zone. I can sit here and talk about it all day, but you have to be there. You have to experience that. You talking about fear. It's the unknown. You don't know if you're gonna come out of it.
And this is somewhere you've never been in your life. Like you said, you don't know the terrain, you don't know where you're going, you don't know these people. They just dump you in the middle of nowhere and say, go kill.
Yeah, Southeast Asia, we know the war is going on. We know when the war broke. Like I said, JFK, what's going to end it? That's why he was assassinated. I'm gonna be honest about it. They won't tell you the truth, but that's why he was assassinated. People like FBI agent, what his name was, J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover, a lot of them, and a lot of Republicans. Because JFK had just ended the Cuban crisis. They didn't want that then. He voted that war with, what's his name over there in Cuba. Then he was going to take us out, get the troops out of Vietnam. The war got worse after he was assassinated. After JFK was assassinated, that's when the war really broke out.
Well, it's big money in war. They
Sure.
make a lot of money.
That way you think about it. Every war was started with a Republican president. A lot of the Democrats inherited. Just like when Biden took us out of Afghanistan, the Republicans hated that because they was making money. And people dying right and left, but their families weren't going and they weren't going.
Yeah, that never made sense to me when I learned we would sell weapons to the enemies that's shooting at our troops. How are we selling them weapons and we sending our kids to go fight?
Because that's what they were making money. Now,
that's crazy.
And we got, like, you're talking about Israel, we have to protect Israel, but Israel got a leader that's corrupt. Netanyahu is corrupt like Donald Trump. He the one, when Biden told him what to do, was send weapons over, he using them himself, killing innocent people. That is war crime. That's what Putin does. And he's part of Putin. So they should get him down from there. They trying to take their democracy away.
That's deep. I mean, how do you feel about the military today compared to
today?
Back then?
I don't care nothing about it today. I don't even tell people I'm a veteran today.
Damn.
Because that's how it started. When you come to something, an organization that was branched, I mean, we were powerful back then. A lot of companies don't respect us anymore. because of the leaders we got. And people like Donald Trump screwed up a lot of things. Overseas, everything. We're not the superpower people think, but we are though. We got the capability of doing other things, so other countries do too.
Because I know now we got women in the military. You
Okay.
can get sex changes now. Like everything is totally
You
different.
see, that's what I'm saying. We didn't have that. Women came in the military in '79. But all this stuff they talking about, gay this, and I gotta say that, no way. Because if you was in my unit then, if you were a faggot, man, we had a GI party with you. We just we did a number on you. And they couldn't be in the airborne unit. You had to earn that.
Yeah.
Everybody didn't make the airborne because the training was so tough and rough. We tell you bolo out. You can't make it. And a lot of guys, even infantry, wasn't no women involved in that. That was, the training was so rough and you're running all the time. You got to learn how to die from bullets, man. You learn how to fight, running and shooting and everything. Women can't do that.
Yeah, I disagree with you.
And then when a woman is a woman, let's be honest about it. You out there, man, a woman, they have the administrative period. What you gonna do? You got flies, stuff drawing around, you drawing the enemy to you. And these people nowadays, like the women's in Iraq, they have to make some ring-a-ding thing for them. But any women not fighting, they were in a combat zone, but they weren't fighting.
See, they get mad at me when I say women have no business being in the military,
They don't.
going to war, fighting. Like,
They don't.
That's not a woman's job.
If they read the Bible, there's no doubt the women live stuff started there. There are certain jobs women should not do. And the bottom line, they're not supposed to preach. They're not to get up there and do jobs men do, because God created man as in his woman as his helper. That's what a woman's job. She can teach children and class and stuff like that. But for getting in and being a leader, no. But the bottom line, military, a woman can't do what you do in the military, I'm telling you. Because, God, man, we had foul mouth, we talk all crazy crap. And they were guys in the military, man, they were so how would you put it, like so sexually bound, they would build a dog with bricks of a woman, nude woman. That's how crazy they was. They were so sexually driven.
They call them fifis in prison.
And then a lot of guys fooled around with all them. A lot of guys fooled around with all them Vietnamese women, man. Them Vietnamese women was carrying razors in their wounds.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
That was true?
Yeah, that was true. We knew a lot of guys got cut up like that.
Damn.
Man, you crying.
What kind of people were these?
These people communists, they are set. They're the ones that use for suicide
So
killers.
they got a vagina full of razor blades, and when a soldier go to sleep with them, you sliced up.
You slice them. See, those, and a lot of them happened to was the white soldiers, I'm telling you. But brothers know better.
Yeah.
But they were so Vietnamese women. Like I knew one like me name was Opie. And the thing about it, I lied to her. I told her I was leaving that Friday. Shoot, man, that Thursday I was gone. I wasn't bringing them when they wanted to come back to the States. And they give them all these state women, you don't have them anymore. They learn the ways of state.
That's crazy, because that's what's going on now.
Yeah.
They got this thing called passport bros, where the guys are flying to foreign countries to get the women to bring them here.
Yep.
And once they get here and learn the ways of the state and the laws, they're out of here.
That's right. And then, because look at all the Cambodians when they were bringing refugees over here. They got businesses. They went to school free, but our people wasn't getting anything. None of the Americans was getting set up. They get set up in business and loans and have to pay back.
So all of that was happening then, because it's happening now. With all the illegals that's coming over here, they get the money, the housing, the schooling, the medical, we get nothing.
Get nothing. Because that way we couldn't figure, so why in the world we gonna fight a war? These people come to get everything they want, but we can't get nothing. See, that's why I never understood this country. Yeah, we're land immigrants, but the people we fought against, you give them a better life than old people live here. And let's be honest about it, Black and Hispanic people was always at the bottom of the pole, always. Housing, everything. And look, Donald Trump used to rent to Black and Hispanic people because getting them roach-infested houses and things that he lied about and his dad lied about. That's why they got sued. But there's a lot of racism here about people, even other states, they didn't have that out blatant racism like these states did, but they had in housing. They had it in jobs.
Systemically?
Yeah. You know, look at Nat King Cole. We tried to get home in Beverly Hills. This guy was a great singer. They refused him for a long time. So that's why I said, we go there fighting a war, and you can't get nothing back in the United States. You come back from the States, you're proud, and you treat it like dirt. Like, what the heck I'm going there fighting for to come back to this crap? I said, I don't blame a lot of them guys that jumped ship and went to Canada. They were better off. But they didn't go after them. They go after ones here that didn't go to Canada that was drafted out.
That's crazy.
Now look at people like Lindsey Graham. That clown was an officer, but he nothing but a faggot. That's all he is, a faggot, a yes man. Never spent a day in combat.
That's crazy.
Only few of them up there now, they didn't come because they was over there in Afghanistan. But see, I don't call that no conventional war. I don't. Your non-conventional war is what we were guerrilla warfare then. Whereas you, and you have some good comrades with you, but hey, you know, death can come at any time. And a lot of us was young men. We were like 19, 18, 21 years old during that time.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people died young. Like that guy that Monitor died over there. He was the lead singer. Made that song Breathe Look Sam. He was killed, he was drafted. Right in the heart of combat. He was drafted to go in. Everybody got drafted. They're going to give you 6 weeks of training and send you over to that war zone.
Damn.
It didn't care. That's why they were getting all young men. But bottom line is, same thing today.
Yeah, it's a different society today, man. It's crazy. Sometimes I say I wish I was born back then because of how crazy it is now. You got the men thinking they women, the women thinking they men.
And see, back then, we call them when you're coming up, I hate them too, I hate them. Like a man's supposed to get made, we call him a punk back then. One would call him a bull daddy. And we used to catch, big guys like to play for the Rams. Man, my cousin, we used to catch some guy and whoop the daylights out of him. I hated them clowns. I think I'm a man, you making me look bad like that, want to be a woman? We'll beat your stuff now. We beat them so bad one time, and took a soda water bottle and jammed it up the wreck.
Oh my God.
That's how men were, crazy. And then talking about women dressing like men back. See, they call themselves coming out the closet back in the 80s. When Bill Clinton said, ask, don't tell. I hated that, man. I was part of that crap. You know, guy come in and ask, man, come on. You can't go in the Green Beret like that. And then you come and find you can't beat them up nothing anymore either.
No, you can't do nothing now.
Training is totally different. Yeah, it's everything. Now, you do something like that, man, they won't lock you up. You call one of them faggot a day, and that's another thing that gets me about this country now. They can have all their rights, but forget our rights.
Yeah.
You know, they can do what they want to do, but we can't do it. See, that don't make any sense at all.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I just wanted to, give the people a raw, uncut version of how the war was back then and how the vets was looked at from somebody from the inside, not the media, how they painted to be, not no Hollywood, real raw and uncut.
And one more thing too, like I said, the military back then was the military who policed itself, didn't have no civilians or news stuff like that. We took care of everything our own. And at that time, you couldn't go on the military base unless your car had a sticker. Like I was a NCO, non-commissioned officer, sticker on my car would have been red. An officer sticker would have been blue. And that's how we used to do back then. They used to have MPs at the gate. They're taking all that away now. You got civilians working on the place running things. And like I said, there was no women running things until they came in the military back in 79. I knew then it was going to be bad. Because I told somebody, I said, you know what? Hey, man, I'm getting out of this because there's going to be a lot of problems. And sure enough, one black, sorry, he was an E9. And those guys seen him on the news back here several years ago. Where this white female officer wanted to have an affair with him. Even though he was married. And she tried to bring charges up against him. Even though he got out with his full rank and benefit, she wanted him to leave his wife and be with her. She's an ugly thing, because she's being a major. I looked at that woman, man, I wouldn't be with her. But because she's an officer, she brought charges, and the charges didn't work. And just like, you wouldn't know about like Oliver North, they gonna tell Dorothy about Oliver North in the Iran hostage situation, how they put him on because he was a scapegoat, he was a full-bird colonel. But everybody else who did the thing walks away. Just like they treating Donald Trump now. Everybody know he's guilty, but they scared of it, including the courts to me. But the Supreme Court the other day, instead of saying, no, he can't be on the ballot, and he know he's going against the, I mean, you took an oath for the country. You stand in that room, all up your hands up, you raise your right hand, you say the same oath we say when you're going in. You plan to protect the United States Constitution of the United States against domestic and foreign, you willing to give your life. You make that oath, and a lot of people don't care about that oath anymore. See, in the old Army, you stood up against that, and you would have been prosecuted. Now, they get away with anything. All these lying suckers get away with everything. But unless you be cut, like I said, if that was Obama, oh, it wouldn't be all the stuff. He'd be getting all the chances. We wouldn't get these chances like that to delay a trial or appeal this. We'd be under the jail. Yeah. Right now, we've been under the jail.
That's deep. So would you have any advice for any young men thinking about joining the military today?
Yeah, I'll tell them you better think twice. I mean, it's not what you think it is. If you want to go in the service, I'll tell a woman that she go in the Air Force. That's the best one for you. You go in the Army, the Marines, anything else, only no good for you. But I wouldn't give advice to anybody. I'd think about it twice. It's not the same military I was in. The rules have changed. Everything's changed now. Yeah, you're a Marine. If you come in and out of college, you go in, you get a good pay, you get paid. When I first went in the military, my pay was just $200 a month. That was it. $200 a month. These guys go, they make that pay look sick. They get over $2,500 a month or more. And then they come out, oh, my knee or my back. They get rewarded for that. I can say about I'm hurt like this. Well, whatever we can do for you. You're lying sucker. See, that's just the Vietnam veteran. They make the other clowns heroes, but the real hero was the Vietnam veteran. And if you look at that too, the World War II veteran, they don't get recognition. And look how long it took them to give the black soldiers recognition, man, these awards. And then Congress didn't want to give it to them. Look at the custody pilots. These guys was great.
Yeah, man, we got to get justice for the real vets out there, man. Justice for every vet. We're going to end it on that note. He got a whole lot more stories to tell. We'll come back at you with a part 2, but this is real, raw, uncut. If y'all ever questioning why I talk the way I talk, you got a live viewing. Now you see where I get it from. Don't blame me. It's in the bloodline, man. The green genes.
That's right.
The viral way. Bang.
Amen to that.